Yeah, oh boy, jumped up there this time. That was great. Well, Morris is this 82-year-old man. He went to the doc to get a physical. A few days later, the doctor's walking down the street and he sees Morris walking with this gorgeous young woman on his arm. And a couple days later, he spoke to Morris at a appointment he had. He goes, "You're doing great, aren't you, Morris?" And Morris says, "I'm doing just what you said, Doc. Got a hot mama and be cheerful." The doctor said, "I didn't say that. I said you got a heart murmur. Be careful." You guys know the blonde cheer? I'm blonde. I'm blonde. I'm B-L-O. Hold on. I'm blonde. I'm blonde. Oh, yeah. A Sunday school teacher of preschoolers told her students she wanted each of them to have learned one fact about Jesus by the next Sunday. So the following week, she asked each child in turn what he or she had learned. And Susie said, "He was born in a manger." And Bobby said, "He threw the money changers out of the temple." And little Johnny says, "He had the red pickup truck, but he didn't know how to drive it." And the teacher's like, "Where'd you learn that, Johnny?" "From my daddy. Yesterday he was driving down the highway and this red pickup truck pulled out in front of us and Daddy yelled at him, 'Jesus Christ, why don't you learn how to drive?'" So Jesus came across an adulteress crouching in a corner with a crowd around her, preparing to stone her to death. And he stopped him. He said, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." And suddenly a woman at the back of the crowd fired off a stone at the adulteress, at which point Jesus looked over and said, "Mother, sometimes you really tick me off."
That was good.
This $1 bill met a $20 bill, and he said, "Hey, where you been? I haven't seen you around here much." 20 says, "I've been hanging out at the casinos. Went on a cruise, did the rounds on the ship, back to the U.S. for a while, went to a couple baseball games, to the mall, that kind of stuff. How about you?" And the $1 bill said, "You know, same old stuff. Church.
That's pretty good.
Hey, you know why the blonde didn't change your baby's diaper for a week? On the package it said 18 to 40 pounds.
Oh, God.
Damn diaper. So the bus driver announces that smoking's prohibited and punishable by a fine of several $100s. Suddenly a baby starts crying. "Come on, kid," the bus driver said. "You're only 6 months old. You can make it without a cigarette." So there's this man. He's got 3 girlfriends, but he doesn't know which one he wants to marry. So he decides to give each one $5,000 and see how each one spends it. Well, the first one goes out. She gets a total makeover with the money, gets new clothes, a new hairdo, manicure, pedicure, the works. She tells the man, "I spent the money so I could look really pretty for you because I love you so much." And the second one, she went out. She bought new golf clubs, a CD player, a TV set, a stereo, and gave them all to the man. And she said, "I bought these gifts for you with the money because I love you so much." And the third one, she takes the $5,000. She invests it in the stock market, doubles her investment, returns the $5,000 to the man, reinvests the rest. She says, "I'm investing the rest of the money for our future because I love you so much." So the man thought really long and hard about how each of the women had spent the money. And then he decided to marry the one with the biggest tits. Sad but true.
Sad but true.
Mr. Smith, I have reviewed this case very carefully, the divorce court judge said, and I've decided to give your wife $275 a week.
No.
Wow, that's really nice, Your Honor. And every now and then I'll try to send her a couple bucks myself. A man and his ever-nagging wife went on vacation to Jerusalem. And while they were there, the wife passed away, and the undertaker told the husband, "You can have her shipped home for $5,000, or you can bury her here in the Holy Land for $150. So the man thought, and he said he'd just have her shipped home. And the undertaker said, "Well, why would you spend $5,000 to ship your wife home when it would be wonderful to be buried here? You'd only spend the $150. And the man said, A long time ago, a man died here, was buried here, and 3 days later he rose from the dead, and I just can't take that fucking chance.
Damn.
Sounds about right.
How can you tell if your wife's dead? Well, sex is the same, but the dishes pile up. Oh. How can you tell if your husband's dead? Well, the sex is the same, but you get to use the remote control for the TV. Little monster child. I hate my teacher. Mother monster. Well, then just eat the salad, dear.
Yeah, you tell you.
The pretty teacher was concerned with one of her 11-year-old students. Taking him aside after class one day, she said, "Little Johnny, why has your schoolwork been so poor lately?" "I'm in love," the boy said. And she was holding back an urge to smile, and she's like, "With whom?" "With you," he said. "But Johnny," she said, "don't you see how silly that is? It's true that I would like a husband of my own someday, but I don't want a child." "Oh, don't worry," he says. "I'll use a condom." Oh, God. This man's doing yard work. His wife's about to take a shower, and the man realizes he can't find the rake, and he yells up, "Where's the rake?" She can't hear him. She shouts back, "What?" And the man first points to his eye, then he points to his knee, then he makes a raking motion. And the wife's not sure, and she goes, "What?" And the man repeats these gestures, mouthing an "I, knee, rake." The wife replies she understands. She signals back. She points to her eye, she points to her left breast, points to her butt, and finally her crotch. Well, there's no way in hell a man can even come close on that one. And he's exasperated. He goes upstairs, stomping upstairs, and says, "What the hell was that?" And she said, "I left tit behind the bush." Yeah, my last joke. Though I do have 100 years plus of fatherhood if you want to hear it, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
A stranger was seated next to a little girl on an airplane, and the stranger turned to her and said, "Let's talk. I'm sure that these flights are faster if you strike up a conversation with your fellow passenger." And the little girl just had opened her book. She closed it real slowly and says, "What would you like to talk about?" "Oh, I don't know," said the stranger. "Well, how about nuclear power?" asked the girl. "Oh, okay," he said. "That could be an interesting topic." And the girl says, "But let me ask you a question first. A horse, a cow, and a deer all eat grass, the same stuff. Yet a deer excretes little pellets. A cow turns out big flat patties, and a horse makes big clumps of dry grass. Why do you think that might be?" The stranger thinks and goes, "Oh, I have no idea." And the little girl says, "Do you really feel qualified to discuss nuclear power when you don't know shit?"
Damn. Yay, why not?